There's a game later on today at 3:00 Eastern between this team right here, Manchester United, and Rangers in the Europa League. And I am so ready to get my heart broken again. I'm so ready to be pissed off at like 5:00 because of these mother right here. And I just wonder what teams in sports right now do the fan bases have like the most love-hate relationship with? And I'm not talking about the teams that are just perennially awful, the teams that just suck, the teams that just you're just wallowing in your own misery and you're wallowing in your own self-pity and you just can't get out of the basement. I'm talking about teams that show flashes, teams that have regular season success but don't come up big in the playoffs, teams that have outstanding superstars but they're never able to rise to the occasion when it matters most. I think Manchester United is one of the greatest examples of a love-hate relationship because I'll get up at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday to watch this freaking team and they'll let me down and lose 1-0 to inferior competition. It drives me crazy, but they're not the only team. So I want to ask you, who do you think is that one team that hasn't won in the last decade and their fan base has the greatest love-hate relationship with? And I'm going to give you a couple examples. The Dallas Cowboys, to me, I think is probably number one on this list. There are so many proud Dallas Cowboys fans out there that swear that this is their year. Every single year, they're America's team. I mean, you look at the first 3 years with Mike McCarthy at the helm. I mean, 12 wins, not too bad, right? But they continuously let you down in the playoffs. They haven't won since the 90s. I think the Chicago Bears are probably another one of those teams. Now, it's a little bit different with them because I know they did have the number one pick, but also because they got Caleb Williams. So people were so excited this year. This is going to be their year. Justin Fields was supposed to be that guy. And you see a lot of Chicago Bears fans that for the last couple of years, yeah, this might be our year, but by the end of the season, they're just wallowing in their own misery as well. Is there any other NFL teams? Am I leaving anybody out? Because I think there probably is a couple more. When you go to the NHL, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs are that answer. They haven't won a cup in decades, but every single year, people think that this is their year. They're the Dallas Cowboys of the National Hockey League. They have Austin Matthews. They have Mitch Marner. They have John Tavares. They have Nylander. They have all these great players, but they always come up short. The New York Rangers are another one. President's Trophy winning team. Igor Shesterkin, Artemi Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, world's most famous arena. They haven't won since 1994. There's a love-hate relationship there. Let's go to baseball. I think when you look at baseball, I think that the Tampa Bay Rays may be one of those teams. You love them because they're the little engine that could. They're going up against these other high payroll teams. But because they don't spend a lot of money, because they get rid of their players, because of their owner, I think there's a love-hate relationship there. So you see there's layers to this. It's not the same reason for everybody. I mean, you look at the New York Mets, I think they're on this list too. You have all of these high-priced players. You have Steve Cohen as your owner. Now you go get Juan Soto. But not counting last year because they did make it to the NLCS, but this is a team that struggled to even make the playoffs altogether. In the NBA, we'll go with the New York Knicks. You think they're good, you think they're back, but they're not better than the Celtics. Are they better than the Cavs? They're not better than the Thunder. But they have Jalen Brunson, they have Karl Anthony Towns, they had Carmelo Anthony and Amari Stoudemire, Tyson Chandler, Jason Kidd a couple of years ago. This team hasn't won since the 70s. There's certainly a love-hate relationship there. And I think the Philadelphia 76ers are on that list as well because you have Joel Embiid and Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, and you had Allen Iverson. I mean, this team hasn't won in decades either. So you love these teams. I'll even go to college football. Let's go to Penn State, right? Because I think you might have been able to put a team like Michigan there, but they won last year. Penn State is probably another one of those teams. Hasn't won in a while. James Franklin gets close every year, but never able to get over the hump. And because they haven't won since 2008, and because of their situation with their coach, I think the Florida Gators are on that list now. They're on that list because you look at it when it comes to the love-hate relationship with Florida. This year, going into the season, there was not a lot of belief in a guy like Billy Napier. And then as the season started and they're losing these games, everybody's like, all right, well, at least the silver lining, the saving grace for this season is that if you lose enough games, Billy will be gone and you'll go get another coach. Well, no, that's not what happened. He comes back. The defensive line plays better. DJ Lagway is here. They beat Ole Miss. He's not going anywhere. He's definitely coaching next year. But as my guy Zach Blobner told us a couple of weeks ago, there still is like that uneasy pit in your stomach going, yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess he's still here, but that doesn't make it any easier because you probably don't think that he's the guy for the long term. I'll ask you, who is that love-hate relationship team right now? We'll go to David Terry. Bruins, okay. They haven't won since Chara and Bergeron and those guys. That could be another one. The Yankees haven't won since 2009. That's a good one as well. Troy Roth, the Minnesota Vikings, letting me down for 50 years plus. Yeah, I think right in there, right? Minnesota, especially the last couple of years when they've had unbelievable regular seasons. A couple years ago, they lost to the Giants at home to Daniel Jones and Brian Dable. That still doesn't even seem real to even say that. And then this year, losing again in the first round to the Rams. David Terry agrees with me talking about the Maple Leafs. Anybody else? Oh, my guy, Kemper checking in from the West Coast. I love to hate the Tampa Blazers. Great team, but too many Knopf singers. It's an inside joke. That was our local men's baseball team. We were undefeated, 9-0-1 if you need them. Mike Frinter, the Lakers. They always blow it, and their fans think they'll win every year. To be fair, though, to the Lakers, they did win that bubble championship in 2020. But, yeah, there's got to be a little bit of – see, that's where I don't know if it's love-hate. That may be a little bit more of, a bandwagon thing and, a LeBron thing. I don't know if it's necessarily love-hate. Troy says the Miami Hurricanes. Okay, I'll give you that one. Luke, who's going to join us in a second, lifelong Timberwolves fan here. We'll get to that here in a minute. And then shout out to Jude and everybody tuning in here on the Recher podcast. Again, follow